Off with a bang.
Wowsy doozy.
Isn't that wild, eh? Okay, the hands go out. Sliding in there. Look at this. Isn't that something to see? Let's hear it, cheer. Oh, look at that. The Eldora form up. Oh, what? Okay. Have a look at this as they come down the straight. Isn't that fantastic? A wall of wings. Solid horsepower. Back off the wind. Yeah, don't jump the other side. Isn't that tremendous? That is really something to see as they roll down the back straight. 4x4. Look at that. Wouldn't that be something to see a start like that? Okay. Appeal up back over the back behind the safety fence now, please. Everybody. We'll have to do a quick scan of the track. Go down here in turn one. Can you get back behind that fence now? That means you with the red hat too, by the way. We can't start until you're back there. Okay, cars coming in now. Rolling around for the big one for this 2 nights of sprint car racing at Winfield Speedway Park. This is the Winfield Australian Sprint Car Masters feature. They pick up pace, but the clerk, of course, says no start. And it's interesting to see some of the fast movers through there. Phil March, bang, goes an incredible skyrocket cracker. Okay, let's try for a start this time. The bad news, Max Dumesny on the infield. You see his car, there it is. The hapless OTR. Coming in for a start and looking a little better this time. And we've got a green flag and we're racing. Brett Lacey gets into the lead. George Tatnell has a little bit of the infield as he goes through. And we've got a wall of cars going through that corner. How they got through, I'll never know. But George Tatnell gets unstuck there. Garry Rush rockets through on the inside of him. And George Tatnell back out after him again. Tatnell proved that he does have a super fast car tonight. Out in the lead is Brett Lacey. And we've got a tangle on the first corner. Yellow light is on. The yellow red light flashes. We've got car 16, Dave Farrell. 97 is Darryl Downing. And the other car involved out there we see is 55, Bill Porter. So we'll have a restart. Could be a nose-to-tail restart after the cars have gone a lap for the Winfield Australian Sprint Car Masters feature. George Tatnell left a little behind at the start there. Brett Lacey gets the jump. There's Tatnell now looking for the inside line on Rush. Through goes March, and Chance Calandro's in there as well. There's Brett Lacey out in the lead, and the 2 Winfield racing cars right behind him of Garry Rush and George Tatnell. The rest of the field slides through under power in the corner. The wings taking an enormous pressure as these cars whiz through the corners. Brett Lacey, Australia 1, Garry Rush wants to wrest that title from him this year. Coming up behind him, driving a better line as Rush as he comes through the corner. Made up quite a bit of ground that lap. Here he comes looking for the inside line on Brett Lacey. Off down the back straight. Oh, this is developing into a race. One heck of a race. There's Garry Rush looking for the inside line on Lacey. Lacey knows he's there. Incredible lap time, 13.9 for Lacey. There goes Garry Rush. Rush looking for the inside. Can he get it? Lacey closes the door as they come to the corner, but he drifts out wide. Rush looking again, but no. Lacey's got the power on. He's getting lots of drive up high on the track. And Rush still there, still pecking away, wanting to get through. This is where the action is, right at the front of the race. The two top cars in Australia. Another incredibly fast 13.8 second lap there from Brett Lacey. Garry Rush hanging in there, waiting for Lacey to make that mistake, which will let him through on the inside. Look at them, incredible speeds. So they go sideways. Rushy comes out tighter on the corner there. Up alongside, there he is alongside Lacey. Through the next corner they go. Lacey up high, getting lots of drive in the car. George Tatnell hanging back there, waiting for one of them to make a mistake. Doesn't look like either's going to, though. Some beautifully controlled driving here by Brett Lacey in the lead, the Australian champion, followed by Garry Rush. There's Phil March. South Australia's hopes resting on Phil March. He's driving a creditable fourth placing at the moment. Wayne Bunker back there with Jeff Harris. Fairway back around about 6th or 7th at this stage. Garry Rush once again trying for that inside pass. That's the way around him. Although Gary's been known not to worry about doing lap after lap too wide on a car. But I think that this time Brett Lacey has got the power to keep him back behind from an outside pass. Lacey, there's David Anderson, Chaz Calandro there. They're running about 5th and 6th from what I can gather. Still Brett Lacey holds off Garry Rush. Crowd on their toes here, watching this thrilling race. Garry Rush settling down a little bit. There's 11 laps to go. Still time to pick him off. And very soon, Brett Lacey will be coming into some of the slower traffic out there. You just saw one of the slower cars there. And Brett Lacey's going to have to try and find his way through. Being the lead car, he's going to have to be the pathfinder. They don't know he's coming up behind him. And he could be balked, and that's what Garry Rush is waiting for. Look at this, George Tatnell right up with Garry Rush now. Tatnell looks to have the faster car on the night. He's coming up right beside Garry Rush. Good grief, and we've got a race here. First, second and third. You can throw a blanket over them. Brett Lacey round the outside of Dave Farrell. Rushy takes the same line. Farrell holding the inside line. The clerk of the course shows him the about to be passed sign. Lacey got a good run through there. Not so good for Garry Rush and George Tatnell. There's Lacey still holding on to that lead. He's got 7 circuits to go. Bad news for local fans with car 25. Rex Hodson pulling infield with problems. No problems with this car though. Australia 1, Brett Lacey. Garry Rush still there. Screaming noise of the engines. These engines are working so hard. Garry Rush makes up ground there. Brett Lacey got to try and find his way around. One of the slower cars, it's Bill Porter. And he goes underneath. Porter gives Porter a shot as he does so. Porter goes up high and wide on the track. Rushy goes straight through underneath. Lacey still getting lots of drive up high on the track. Garry Rush coming through on the inside of him now, looking for the line. Is it there? And look, he's got it. Lacey's going to be walked. No, Lacey ducks down underneath Jamie Moyle, and they tangle. Lacey and Jamie Moyle tangle. Lacey into the wall. And Garry Rush through on the inside. Well, I guess that's experience for you. But what an incredibly thrilling race. Jamie Moyle shakes his head, probably thinking, why me? Brett Lacey, sandwiched between Jamie's car. Both of them just touched as they went down there. When you're driving at 10 tenths on the limits of control, that's enough to bring you unstuck. In for the restart, minus, of course, Brett Lacey and Jamie Moyle. And away goes Garry Rush. George Tatnell, oh, and one going through on the inside there. Dave Hetherington trying to slide through. Got it really offline, and that's the idea of this high curbing here this year. Garry Rush, George Tatnell behind him. Then we got Phil March, followed by David Anderson. Bob Aylesbury's up there too, and that's a good thing to see. Dave Hetherington trying to wend his way through the pack. is Chaz Calandro there. He's trying to make up ground with only 3 laps to go. That checkered flag is getting very close. Oh, look at this. Oh, Chaz Calandro gets in front of his car, clipped by Dave Hetherington, has to go out wide there, loses ground as he heads up towards the wall. But there's Garry Rush going on what looks like his winning way with only 2 laps to go. George Tatnell has got no reply for the incredible speed of Garry Rush in the Winfield racing car. Smoke starting to come from Phil March's car as he comes down the straight. But there's a half a lap to go for Garry Rush in New South Wales. Car number 25 for Winfield Racing takes the Winfield Masters. New South Wales 5, George Tatnell goes in for second. Phil March from South Australia goes in third. Fourth is Dave Hetherington in car number 37. All of them, every one of them deserves a wave and a whistle. Wave your programs. Great stuff. George Tatnell rolls down to the line there. Dave Hetherington. Garry Rush broken the spell at Winfield Speedway Park. Yep.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to introduce you to Jerry Bay, the area manager for Winfield. Jerry, welcome to Winfield Speedway Park.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure it is to be here. What a beautiful night. What a fantastic race. It certainly is a great weekend for the motor enthusiasts with the Grand Prix and everything we've seen here tonight. It's absolutely fantastic, this race, and I was absolutely thrilled to be a witness to it. Also a great pleasure, of course, to see the 2 Winfield cars there up in front. I won't say much more. What I'd like to say is to Mal and Mike, congratulations on the fantastic job you've done here on improving the grounds and putting in the gardening and everything else. It's really looking magnificent. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jerry Bay from Winfield. Let's get on with it. First of all then, from South Australia in car 3 in 3rd placing, Phil March. Well, there you are, Phil. There's a bottle of port from Les Williams and the beautiful Winfield trophy. You must be fairly happy to come in 3rd.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Garry and George. They did a good job. There's nothing I could do. I'd like to thank Winfield for putting on the race. It's much appreciated. We need these sort of races. And I'd like to thank Glider Outdoors and Tube Makers and John Lewis and Andrew Nicholson and Dad. They worked tremendously. Thank you.
Good on you, Phil. Big hand for Phil March. I guess a lot of people worked very hard overnight and today. In 2nd placing from New South Wales and the first of the Winfield cars, car number 5, your friend and mine, George Tatnell. George, you challenged Garry there for a while, and I guess being a good driver that you are, you thought you'd get through.
Oh, we did, but you know, it's just one of those things. Just feel sorry for Brett because he was running very hard up the front, but we've all been in that position before. But Garry and I have had a lot of good races, and he's a very hard competitor, and he's the best in Australia. And you know, like when you run with Garry, you know that you run with the best. And we thought we had his measure tonight, but that wasn't to be. But anyway, that's the way it goes.
George, congratulations, you did a fine job.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Winfield, Australian Airlines, Joe, Stevie, Mark and all the boys, and Wayne Bunker for helping us out whilst we're over here. And especially big thanks to Mike and Malcolm for this splendid speedway that they've got here. And I just hope all your people here tonight have been enjoyed it. Go home and tell your friends to come out here to Adelaide's Raceway, buy a packet of Winfields and get on Australian Airlines and you'll be right. Thank you.
Ever the publicity man. Good on you, George, and congratulations. And now, at last, after almost a decade, the new Winfield Australian Sprint Car Master, Garry Rush. Come on, a big cheer for Garry. the garland from the lovely Winfield girls, the bottle of Roe Valley, the kiss, and from Jerry Bay, the trophy. Garry, what can I ask you?
Well, everyone congratulated me on last night, but that was just the warm-up. But you know, I've been coming here for a few years now, and I've been trying to win a major race, and well, this is one of their major races, and well, I'm very, very happy. You know, I'm very happy for my pit crew, because over the last 5 or 6 weeks we've had 2 cars written off, and just a lot of bad luck. But well, we got it together this weekend, and I'm very happy, and I'm very happy for John Barrett, because he's my chief pit man, and that guy works 80 hours a day on my race car, and no one works harder than that man in Australia, and I think everyone in the pits will agree that no one works harder than him, and I'd like to thank him very much.
Garry, I know everybody congratulates you. The car itself went splendidly. The track seemed to stand up. Had you geared the car into the track?
Well, when you have a pit crew, you know, like John and myself, we've been together for a long, long time, and you know, we've come here and, well, we've had a lot of bad luck, but then we've made a lot of wrong decisions. But this weekend we made every decision was right, and the track was just perfect for every decision we made.
Once again, Garry, congratulations. You're now the 1987 Australian Winfield Sprint Car Master, and I'm sure that's the first of many more to come.
Thanks very much. We'll be back here in 2 weeks, and, well, we have the same luck again. But before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Winfield, and a guy that works nearly as equally as hard as John Barrett is Ivan Walker. He supplies me engines, and you know, he's done a very good job too. And I'd like to thank them for promotion, for putting on a good promotion, and all the people for coming last night and tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Australian Master, Garry Rush. Well, the Scotcher mobile stage will now take off, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree that it was probably one of the best races we've seen for a long time, and with George Tatnell winning, Garry Rush winning it, George pushing him, Garry would just have to be so pleased, not at winning a major feature so much as to finally getting that little monkey off his back. And I'm sure, as Brian and Rob will say, wave your program, cheer, throw confetti, do everything, because there's certainly some great drivers, and Garry Rush showed us why he's a multi-Australian champion.
Okay, let's hear those cheers for the champions, the sprint car races. Come on, let's hear it there in the city and the Winfield stands.